Chapter 4 The Reason. Get over here! The voice cut through the air like a twang of a ricocheting bullet. Little Willie had never heard a voice like that before. Not on this farm. He couldn't move. But Searchlight sure could. The owner of the voice barely had time to step back into the house and close the door. Searchlight barked and snarled and jumped at the closed door. The door opened a crack. The man stood in the opening. He was holding a small derringer and pointed it at Searchlight. His hand was shaking. Don't shoot! Little Willie yelled as he reached out and grabbed Searchlight gently on the back. The barking stopped. Who are you? Name's Clifford Snyder, state of Wyoming, the man said with authority. He opened the door a little farther. The man was dressed as if he was going to a wedding, a city slicker. He was short, with a small head and a thin, droopy mustache that reminded Lily of the last time he had drunk a glass of milk in a hurry. What do you want? Lily asked. Official business. Can't the old man inside talk? Not regular talk. We have a code. I can show you. As little Willie reached for the door, Clifford Snyder again aimed his gun at Searchlight, who had begun to growl. Leave that thing outside, he demanded. She'll be all right if you put your gun away. No. Are you afraid of her? I'm not afraid. Dogs can always tell when somebody's afraid of them. Just get in this house this minute, Snyder yelled, and his face turned red. Little Willie left Searchlight outside, but Clifford Snyder wouldn't put his gun away until they were all the way into Grandfather's bedroom, and he insisted that Little Willie shut the door. Grandfather's eyes were wide open and fixed on the ceiling. He looked much older and much more tired than he had that morning. You're no better than other folks, Clifford Snyder began as he lit up a long, thin cigar and blew smoke towards the ceiling. And anyway, it's the law, plain and simple. Little Willie didn't say anything. He was busy combing Grandfather's hair, like he did every day when he got home. When he finished, he held up the mirror just so Grandfather could see. I'm warning you, Clifford Snyder continued. If you don't pay, we have our ways. And it's all legal. All fair and legal. You're no better than other folks. Do we owe you money, Mr. Snyder? Little Willie asked. Taxes, son. Taxes on this farm. Your grandfather there hasn't been paying them. Little Willie was confused. Taxes? Grandfather had always paid every bill. And always on time. And little Willie did the same. So what was there about these taxes? Grandfather had never mentioned them before. There must be a mistake. Is it true? Little Willie asked Grandfather, but Grandfather didn't answer. Apparently he had gotten worse over the day. He didn't move his hand or even his fingers. Ask him about the letters, piped up Clifford Snyder. What letters? Every year we sent a letter, a tax bill, showing you how much you owe. I have never seen one, insisted Little Willie. Probably threw them out. Are you sure? Began Little Willie. Then he remembered the strong box. He removed the boards and lifted up the heavy box on the floor. He opened it and removed the papers. The papers he remembered seeing when he had looked for money to pay money to rent the horse. Are these the letters? He asked. Clifford Snyder snatched the letters from Little Willie's hand and examined them. Yep, sure are, he said. These go back over 10 years. He held up one of the letters. This here is the last one we sent. Little Willie looked at the paper. There were so many figures and columns and numbers that he couldn't make any sense of what he was looking at. How much do we owe you, Mr. Snyder? Says right here, clear as a bell. The short man jabbed his short finger at the bottom of the page. Little Willie's eyes popped open. $500? We owe you $500? Clifford Snyder nodded, rocking back and forth on his toes to make himself taller. And if you don't pay, he said, I figure this farm is about worth. You can't take our farm away, Little Willie screamed, and Searchlight began barking outside. Oh, yes, we can, Clifford Snyder said, smiling, exposing his yellow, tobacco-stained teeth.